Is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big breaking news. The House has just passed a bill to prevent a government shutdown before the March 11th deadline. Inflation has just hit 7.9%, the highest in 40 years. I'll play a video clip from Joe Manchin talking about how he thinks he could solve inflation with his solutions. Also, the latest stimulus check articles like this. Soaring gas prices are hurting Americans. It's time for more stimulus checks. Biden wants to bring back a major stimulus program and surprise $1,500 paycheck to be issued to some workers within weeks through a hazard pay program, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a terrific Thursday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. And I had one of the best moments of my life yesterday, snowboarding side by side with my daughter Bella. She was doing great. I was so proud of her. I'll share more details and video clips later on in the video. But first, House passes government funding bill that includes nearly $14 billion in Ukraine aid. So the House passed $1.5 trillion legislation that would fund the government through September and send nearly $14 billion in humanitarian and military aid to Ukraine. Let me know your thoughts on that. $14 billion to Ukraine. Should it be more? Should it be less? Should that money be used for the U.S.? Let me know your thoughts on all of that. And Chamber plans to pass a second temporary spending plan to give the Senate enough time to approve the long-term measure. The vote was delayed by hours as Democratic leaders were forced to remove $15.6 billion in coronavirus relief funds included in an earlier version of the bill. So the deadline is tomorrow, the 11th, March 11th, which is Friday. So pretty crazy how they do this last minute as usual. Next, inflation. So inflation sets fresh 40-year high. February CPI rises 7.9% over the last year. And it's not looking good. It's probably going to go a little higher than that. Take a look at this video clip right here, given the latest details.
Breaking news, the new numbers just out this morning shows inflation rose 7.9% year over year in February. This is the highest number in nearly 40 years. At the same time, gas prices reached another record, $4.32 a gallon this morning. Let's go right to Jolene Kent in Jackson Hole. We talk about the trickle-down effect, Joe. You've been talking to restaurant owners who might have to raise their prices. What are you hearing?
Yeah, restaurant owners don't want to raise their prices, but when you look at this staggering inflation, there's one thing that is very real. The pace of inflation is picking up again, and here in the Mountain West region, it's the worst in the nation. We have brand new numbers. Inflation here in Wyoming and across the Mountain West, 9.7% year over year. That is nearly 10%, about 2 points higher than the rest of the country. And this is hitting everything from food prices like chicken, gasoline, of course, and hitting restaurant food as well. We talked to Brian, the owner of the Albany restaurant in Cheyenne, and he says that he's trying not to raise prices, but he may have to. Listen to this.
There's times where they're going to have to add a fuel surcharge. There's times when they aren't going to be able to get us the product, not necessarily because the product isn't available, but they have to pay to get the product to their warehouse, and then we have to pay again to get it here, and somebody's paying that bill, and it ultimately becomes us or our guest.
Things are getting really bad, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go down anytime soon. I remember maybe last year inflation was starting to rise. They said it was temporary, but yet it just keeps going higher, and it's not going down, and it doesn't seem to go down anytime soon. Now we're starting to see articles like this on CNN saying soaring gas prices are hurting Americans. It's time for more stimulus checks. I never thought I would see something, although it is an opinion piece, I never thought I would see something like that on CNN. So basically what it's saying here is Moody's Analytics estimated that inflation is costing the average household $276 more per month, or $1,100 per quarter, which is 3 months. So it's pretty crazy to think that just because of this invisible force in the economy, which is known as inflation, 7.9%, that people have to pay $276 more per month. That's just crazy. So, and given the instability of oil markets over Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it wouldn't surprise those if it increased up to $300 per month. For anyone on fixed income, low income, or even just average people, paying an extra $300 per month when bills are tight already is really hard. It's making it really hard. So in this article, it's calling for stimulus checks, basically saying the checks would help low to moderate income households when the schools and childcare programs were closed and companies were laying off workers, and basically they would, they would like to have more stimulus checks. Let me know down in the comments below, should there be more stimulus checks? This one, stimulus check update, are direct payments for Americans still possible? At this point, there aren't any politicians pushing for a stimulus check. There's the petition, which shows civilians and Americans who are pushing for a stimulus check, a forced stimulus check, but there's still not enough support, which is crazy to think, especially with increased prices and low income, moderate income families suffering a lot through all this economic hardship, that you'd think stimulus checks would be more popular at this point. And then Biden wants to bring back a major stimulus program. Will it happen? So what he's talking about here, he put out a tweet saying many families pay up to $14,000 a year for childcare per child. My plan will cut the cost in half for most families. So he wants to have that as well as the child tax credit. Although everything seems to be stalled. I'll talk more about the Build Back Better and the revised version later on. I just want to give you more stimulus check articles, such as this. This is hazard pay going on. So surprise $1,500 paychecks to be issued to some workers within weeks. See if you're eligible for 2 payments. So workers in Sacramento County, they're providing bonuses to essential workers who were on the job at the height of the COVID pandemic. So this is kind of like a retroactive hazard pay for anyone working previously in the pandemic. So it looks like I've seen a few of these happen in a few different cities and states. So first, workers could be eligible for 2 payments totaling a lump sum of $1,500. So this is just for Sacramento County in California. Then in Maine hopes to use stimulus checks to combat inflation. So what's going on in Maine is they're offering the state has proposed sending $750 checks to 800,000 people beginning in July. The proposal had originally been for $500 checks before projections changed. So that's going on in Maine. Potential $750 checks, not officially approved yet. Then time is running out to apply for $1,000 a month in guaranteed income. See the exact date applications close this month. So this is going on for the Creatives Rebuild New York, the artists in New York who could get up to $1,000 per month. The deadline is March 25th, 2022. So that is for any of the artists who want to get an extra $1,000 per month there living in New York. And then moving on to what's going on with the Build Back Better and Joe Manchin. So Democrats are assembling a reworked Build Back Better bill, hoping to persuade Manchin to back it as an anti-inflation measure. So we've heard for weeks, maybe even months, of a new version of the Build Back Better, the Building a Better America, ever since Joe Manchin has torpedoed the original Build Back Better. Since then, we've just heard talk. We haven't seen any text, we haven't seen any legislation, just a bunch of back and forth. So Democrats are trying to reconfigure a signature spending package that appeared dead. It's just, it's a slimmer version. All this is just talk. I don't want to go into the what ifs of it, but yeah, until there's action, I'll let you know of something more serious and more concrete. And when it comes to Joe Manchin and inflation, as well as a few other issues, take a look at this video clip right here.
And joining me now is Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. He, of course, chairs the Senate's Energy and Natural Resources Committee. Senator Manchin, welcome back to Meet
Good to be with you.
Meet
Good
the
to be
Press.
with you, Chuck.
Look, you were on this Zoom with President Zelensky yesterday. Before I get into the details, just, what was that like with him? What did he say to you guys?
It was so surreal, but to have a person there in the front, on the front lines, taking mortars every day and basically seeing his people being slaughtered and willing to withstand all of this and fight back, and all he asked for was basically, just help me, I'll fight my own fight, just give me the tools to do it. And for us to hesitate, or anyone to hesitate in the free world, is wrong. And he said that. He said, listen, if Ukraine falls, then Europe may fall. Where do you want to stop?
So what does that mean for you? Are you right now, would you support a no-fly zone? Would you support doing this, which could trigger a wider conflict?
I understand that, but right now you don't signal to the nemesis of Putin. This is Putin's war. This is not the Russian people's war. This is Putin's war and his quest for whatever it may be. But to take anything off the table thinking we might not be able to use things because we've already taken them off the table is wrong. I would take nothing off the table, but I would be very clear that we're going to support the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian president, and this government every way humanly possible. Zelensky was very clear. He says, we don't need you to fight our fight. We don't need you to fly our planes or fly your planes into our war zone. We need the planes that we can fly ourselves, and we have them on the border.
All right, you heard Secretary Blinken. That deal seems to be
I
at
think
least
it's
in
moving.
motion.
I hope
right?
it's very
the trading
quickly,
of jets with the Poles in particular.
Absolutely.
Correct?
We need to backfill that.
All right. On the oil and gas embargo, you heard the Secretary's answer. Basically, he's saying, yes, we're in favor of it if the entire alliance does it too, which sounds like there is an interest in doing it unilaterally. Is there a majority support in Congress for it unilateral?
I believe, and I would say this, the people in my state of West Virginia believe it's basically foolish for us to keep buying products and giving profit and giving money to Putin to be able to use against the Ukrainian people. That's exactly what he's doing. So why wouldn't we lead? Why wouldn't we show the resolve we have? I understand there's more dependency in the world, but here's the problem. We have the ability to ratchet up and be able to backfill. We have the energy, we have the resources here, and we have the technology. We're 1 million barrels short a day right now that we can just ramp up like that. We can do certain things, and we don't have to put any more pain on the American people than are already suffering with inflation now.
Right.
But I believe the American people would, if they basically pay, if they had to, seeing that they're saving freedom and saving lives of people, innocent people.
We've seen some polling that indicates that for now, okay?
That's a difficult one.
Let's see what happens when it's $5 gas.
Well, look at the gas now at $4. It wasn't because of this. Inflation's already wreaked havoc on it now. And basically, we're going to set back now because we're afraid it might go up a little bit more. It might go up anyway, and we haven't done nothing. I'm willing to at least do something and say whatever it would take, we're going to ramp up our energy. We're going to basically produce the oil, the natural gas, build the pipelines. We've been stymied. We're not getting anything done from the standpoint of energy. We can do both, Chuck. We can do the energy that we need as far as in this fossil world that we live in, and do it cleaner than anybody else in the world, and innovation. But we can also transition to a cleaner technology.
Now, is this the price of your involvement in new talks on a reconciliation bill with Democrats and with the president? Meaning, like, look, you sort of outlined some top lines here. You said it needs to lower the deficit. I'd like to do prescription drugs, and if there's anything else left, then maybe we can talk about other things. But you also had a big circle around energy independence there. Does that come, you want to see an increase in energy production before you'll sit down with Biden?
Let me say the most important thing, and the thing that I'm worried about every day is inflation right now. It's affecting every West Virginian, every American that I know of has basically told me the high prices they're paying they can't sustain. And it's hurting the people that need it the most, people that are working like the Dickens, trying to make a living. They need help. So inflation's the number one thing. Basically supporting Ukraine and saving freedom and democracy around the world, because it will permeate if we don't stop it. Next of all, we can do all of this, okay? But you got to get your financial house in order. My grandfather always said, Joe, he said, unmanaged debt will make cowardly decisions out of you. You'll make a cowardly decision. We've got to get that under control.
Is this war in Europe make it harder to do this deal with the president or easier?
I think it makes us more realistic. This is the real world. We keep talking these aspirational things we want to do, whether it's the far left, far right, whatever it may be. Forget about the aspiration. We're living in a real world. Global climate is global. It's not North American. It's not United States only. It's global. And we have to look at this as global, what we can do. Our energy that we produce in America is better and cleaner than any place else in the world. So anything that we backfill is going to be better than what they produce. The gas from LNG that we can send over, expanding the ports. We've got basically requests for permits that are still standing and we haven't given. We need to do that. We got pipeline. I got a Mountain Valley pipeline in the state of West Virginia. It'll take 2 BCF, 2 billion cubic feet a day into the marketplace immediately. And you know what? It's 95% done. I can't get it done.
What do you say to those that say if we continue to expand fossil fuel infrastructure, like pipelines like that, it just makes it harder for us to get to clean?
Let me just tell you one thing. They said the pipelines. Those can't eventually transition into hydrogen pipelines. We can do so much with that. It's the clean technology that we're going for. It's almost like if you don't stop this, you won't do this. That's not right, Chuck.
All right, who are you negotiating with? The president or Senator Schumer?
There's no formal talks going on right now, I can assure you. Basically, everybody talks. I talk to everybody. You
throw it out there, and it's up to
I'm
others
just
to come
saying,
to
get
you?
your financial house in order. The only one thing all Democrats voted, we voted against the 2017 Republican tax cuts. We thought they were weighted unfairly. If you have one thing that you're all united on, fix it.
Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, appreciate you coming in.
So what do you think about what Joe Manchin has to say? Do you agree, disagree? What do you think? He did bring up some good points there. Let me know your thoughts on all of that in comments below. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is a tip of the day. I want to tell you one of my favorite secrets. Adults don't know everything. And also, So I don't too. I know I'm really smart, but I don't really know as much things. You don't know as much things, but we're all gonna learn. I promise. If you keep on working every day, I can, and we all can, and we can all be really smart. And we can all be really smart.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. So my daughter and I, Bella, got to go snowboarding yesterday. It was so cool. It was snowing heavy. There was fresh snow, fresh powder everywhere, and she was doing great. She was just cruising down the mountain. I was filming her and I actually fell while filming her. It was pretty funny, but yeah, we're having a great time at Winter Park, Colorado, and Bella is loving snowboarding. So just trying to get her to snowboard as much as possible. We just have a couple days left before we head home, but yeah, it's been amazing. Anyways, if you want to check out the latest videos, my other channels, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.